Hey, folks, it is January 11th, 2021, and today, to give you a little bit of this day in history, United States Surgeon General Luther Terry, that's a great name, knew his report was a bombshell. He initially chose to use January 11th as the release date, as it was a Saturday, so as not to limit its immediate effects on the stock market. It was on this day that, on behalf of the U.S. government, Terry announced a definitive link between smoking and cancer. So that was back in 1964. Now, smoking, obviously, very bad for you. People have been using tobacco for years, whether, whatever your reasons for doing it. But, smoking became very trendy, very popular. And people, I guess because of people's short life expectancies as well as other health ailments, really didn't pick up on this. But really, the first science, now bear with me because this is where it gets really funky, is the first science to come out about the study of cancer related to smoking comes out in the 30s from Nazi Germany. It's really weird. About 10 years ago, I was watching the History Channel back in the day when they actually showed history and not swamp people or log people or other crap. And I went to turn the TV off because I had to go somewhere, and they said, next on the History Channel, the good things the Nazis did. I was like, whoa, what? So what they were talking about was some of the research that they had did, things like rocket engines, two-stage rocket engines, which was actually the basis for our NASA program. But one of the things that they did was they proved that smoking cigarettes was linked to causing cancer, but then they spun it to being an as a tool as anti-Semitism. So, but when the American operatives and the British operatives got into the offices and they saw this stuff, they basically just kind of like, pardon language, they shit canned it. Whereas the doctors at that time were saying, don't clear your throat too much because that can cause cancer. Where cigarette companies got in a lot of trouble was that in their own research they hid it. So what winds up happening is they get in trouble because it kind of comes off as fraud. Believe it or not, by 1958, 44% of Americans believed that there was a link between smoking and cancer. And it wasn't until 1964, the findings titled "Smoking and Health" was stated a conclusive link. Now we have tons of research. People still smoke, but if you go back in time, smoking was very common back in the day when I was a waiter and bartender here in the state of New Jersey. As a kid, you walk into a restaurant and they would ask you, smoking, not smoking. And when they put the smoking ban into effect, they thought it would affect business, and actually it did. But it actually improved business because you didn't have to worry about stinking. If you watch Forrest Gump, when Forrest was getting them braces, his doctor's smoking. That was a real thing. I actually worked with a guy who was old enough. He remembers when he was in school, the teachers would smoke in class. Now in today's time, clearly, we have smoke-free zones all over the place. But now the big thing about smoking is, hi Chavo, is he always likes to come and visit. I don't know. Whoa. Oh shit. But there's Chavo. Say hi. Yes, smoking's gross. But now the big problem is, we're getting young people away from cigarettes, which is good. But the issue that we got now is they're vaping. If you vape, you look like a fucking tool. Stop it. You look like you're blowing Optimus Prime. Enough already. Now, the issue with those is that they were definitely marketing towards kids with all those nice little fruity flavors with the blueberry and the pomegranate and all that stuff. The issue there is that the chemicals that they use to flavor the nicotine, in addition to the higher levels of nicotine being delivered per dose, the other issue is that those chemicals were causing popcorn lung. Basically, the additives were getting into people's lungs, and the lungs couldn't expel it. Don't smoke. If you're going to vape, be a man and smoke, but don't smoke because it's dangerous for you. Lung cancer, throat cancer, mouth cancer, heart disease, you name it, nicotine jacks up your body. As a matter of fact, my grandfather, a man that I have a lot of respect for, Big John Chapman, he always had Garcia Vega cigars, man. He always had one in his mouth or he had one in his pocket. And because of just the constant contact from the cigar, he had developed a little bit of mouth cancer from that. And speaking of mouth cancer, for you fellas out there that are chewing tobacco, stop it. No woman's ever looked at you and spitting in your cup and gone, "Ooh, I want to get with that," because it's freaking nasty. And by the way, little side note: chewing tobacco back in the day used to have a little bit of sand in it, as to cut your gums to get the nicotine in there. Well, that's unsanitary. So now they chop up a little fiberglass and throw it in there. Fun. Hey, folks, check back with you later on.